Hello children, welcome back to my channel. This is Priyanka and today we are going to discuss about the transportation life process. We have already discussed about nutrition and respiration. If you haven't seen them, I'll put them here in the I box and you can go through them. Now children, in nutrition we have learned that the glucose is taken inside our body and then it is broken down into smaller molecules of glucose, right? And in the respiration we have seen that those glucose molecules are oxidized and carbon dioxide, water and ATP is formed. Now these materials have to be carried throughout our body. So who are doing this job? So the transportation system in our body is doing this job. Now let us learn the transportation in human beings. It consists of circulating fluid called blood, heart and blood vessels. These three main parts are there. So first of all, let us talk about blood. In ninth standard, you have learned that blood is red colored fluid made up of connective tissues. Do you remember it? Correct. And blood supplies oxygen and nutrients. As blood is the first component of the circulatory system, let us see the components of blood. 55% of plasma is there, and in them, 45% of red blood cells, platelets, and white blood cells are suspended. Now let us learn the functions of blood. Now children, the main function would be transportation, right? It is transporting nutrients, oxygen and carbon dioxide, hormones and excretory products, that is nitrogenous waste. The second is buffer system of our body. That means to maintain our pH of a body. Then protection against diseases. Our white blood cells are doing this job, protection against disease. Next is blood clotting. We will be learning this work of platelets afterwards in detail, and then water balance. Now let us learn about the our pump, that is heart. Now children, our heart is as big as our fist. It is situated here in between our two lungs. Then it is slightly tilted towards the left side. It has four chambers. Upper two chambers are called as right atrium and left atrium. They are smaller than the below parts, that is ventricles, right ventricle and left ventricle. Now children, there are two major veins, that is vena cava and the pulmonary veins. Okay, so vena cava, lower vena cavas are taking the blood, deoxygenated blood from the lower body here. You can see these are vena cava. This is lower vena cava. So this is taking deoxygenated blood from the lower body, and upper vena cava is taking deoxygenated blood from upper body, and then the blood is entering into the right atrium. Okay, then afterwards the blood, deoxygenated blood goes to the right ventricle, and then it is supplied to the lungs with the pulmonary arteries. Okay, now children, always remember, whenever we are talking about arteries, arteries are carrying blood from the heart. Okay, and veins are carrying blood towards the heart. Remember it, arteries from the heart and veins towards the heart. Then next is pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are taking oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. Okay, veins are bringing oxygenated blood from lungs to heart. The blood enters into left atrium, then the left ventricle, and after that it is transported towards all the body parts through aorta. Okay, and aorta is all di divided into capillaries and other arteries. So this is the human heart. This was the introduction of human heart. You can see that here blood enters, blue colored deoxygenated blood enters into right atrium, then to left ventricle, right ventricle, sorry, and then it goes to the lungs with the help of pulmonary arteries. Then pulmonary veins are bringing oxygenated blood from lungs to heart, and then it is entering into the ventricle, left ventricle, and then aorta is supplying oxygenated blood to all the body parts. Okay, so is it clear? Now, so let us learn what are arteries and what are veins. Arteries are those who carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the other body parts. Okay, from the heart to other body parts, except pulmonary artery. Only the pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood. Okay, now in veins, veins carry deoxygenated blood to the heart from body parts except pulmonary veins, because pulmonary veins carry the oxygenated blood. Okay, remember, arteries from the heart and veins to the heart. Now arteries are bright in color. They have elastic walls that expand with surge of blood, can feel the pulse, no walls present in them. Okay, arteries are bright, elastic walls and can feel the pulse, and without walls. Okay, walls means doors. Okay, now in veins, veins are normally dark red in color, thin walls, no pulse, and have walls in them. So remember the difference between arteries and veins. Now process of transportation. Now children, this is also called as the double circulation process. Our body is doing the double circulation. See, as I told you while explaining the heart structure, I told you that deoxygenated blood is entering to the right atrium. Then from right atrium it goes to the ventricle, right ventricle. Then it goes to the lungs for getting oxygen. Okay, deoxygenated blood is entering to the lungs with the help of pulmonary arteries. Okay, then lungs are giving the oxygenated blood with the help of pulmonary veins. It enters into the left atrium, then it enters into left ventricle, and then through aorta it is entering throughout our bodies, and these are capillaries in our body. Okay, so remember this: right atrium, then right ventricle, then with the pulmonary arteries to lungs, then pulmonary veins to left atrium, then left ventricle, and afterwards through aorta it enters into, means it circulates throughout our body. Okay, now there's a fantastic thing that fishes on the other hand have only two chambers. As our heart has four chambers, these have only two chambers to their hearts, and the blood is pumped to the gills, is oxygenated there, and passes directly to the rest of the body. In other vertebrates, double circulation takes place as blood enters twice in the heart. As I told you that our body, in our heart, the blood enters twice. That's why it is called as the double circulation. Now blood pressure. The force that blood exerts against the walls of vessels, the blood vessels, is called the blood pressure. Instrument with what the blood pressure is measured is called as the sphygmomanometer. The high blood pressure is also called as hypertension. Now, the blood pressure, the normal systolic blood pressure is about 120 mm of Hg, and systolic pressure is 80 mm Hg. Now, lymph. Lymph is another type of fluid which is involved in the transportation. What is the function of it? It carries the digested fat, drains excess fluid from extracellular spaces back into the blood. It carries carbon dioxide and nitrogenous waste. It protects body from killing germs. Now maintenance by platelets. As I told you that we will learn in detail. So let us learn in detail. The blood has platelet cells which circulate around the body. Loss of blood from the system has to be minimized. Leakage would lead to the loss of pressure. See here in this picture you can see that if we had any cut, so with because of the blood pressure our blood keeps flowing, right? The blood platelets, what they do, they comes and they clot the blood. That's why the blood flow is stopped. Plug these leaks by helping the clots the blood at these points of the